Go across now and take you to the G21 venue, the Bharat Mandapam in central Delhi, where India Today's Mausami Singh, who's been a crack frontline reporter throughout the G20 yesterday, bringing us all of those big developments, is there bright and early on day two. Good morning, Mausami. Looking lovely. It's a great day after, day one of the G20 that we saw so many fabulous announcements take place. It looks like day two isn't going to be any less, except much more symbolism, lots of spirit. There's going to be some tree planting taking place. Of course, there's also another session happening. Just take us through what today looks like at Bharat Mandapam.
All right, Shiv, a very good morning to you and all our viewers. And we've seen a lot of Indian traditional attire yesterday at the President's dinner, if you remember. And exactly, the spirit of India, as you said, the spiritual strength of India perhaps on display today with a visit to Akshardham by the British Prime Minister. And then we'll see the world leaders coming to Rajghat to offer their prayers there. So clearly, India putting up a grand show, and it's the grand finale today. Morning, we'll see the world leaders assembling at Rajghat, and after that, there's another session which is on One Future, the basic theme of the entire G20. And, as we mentioned that Rishi Sunak is there at Akshardham with his better half. I remember a pat at the back, pat on his hand. Prime Minister Narendra Modi left no stone unturned to show that, display that bonhomie between Rishi Sunak and him. And clearly, that's what has been evident throughout this entire G20. Yesterday, it was clearly underlined, there were several differences, there were tough negotiations, and that Delhi declaration defines it all. It's one of the most successful G20 summits in the recent past, Shiv. And the underlining was that even if there were differences, specifically with the Ukraine-Russia war, what pushed the entire consensus forward was, it was said that the leader wants it. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India, being that bridge between the developing nations and the developed countries. And it's truly India's moment, Shiv, and we'll be tracking all the details and all the events as they happen today as well.
It's a lovely morning. It's a little rainy for my taste, but it's still a lovely morning. It's not going to stop any of the things that have been lined up today. Mausami continues to stay with me. We've got an excellent team at the Bharat Mandapam, but also at the Rajghat, where the scene shifts very, very shortly. Let me just take you through what today is going to look like in summary, so you're completely prepared to see many of the pictures that will start coming in just minutes from now. The day two of the G21 has begun. Day one of the summit, as you know, saw a power-packed day full of insightful sessions, several key bilateral meets, as well as the grand gala dinner hosted by President Draupadi Murmu at the Bharat Mandapam. Multiple important decisions like the adoption of the Delhi Leaders' Declaration, the addition of the African Union to the G20, as well as the launch of the Global Biofuel Alliance were taken on day one of the biggest global event India has ever hosted. Day two of the summit begins now, with world leaders visiting the Rajghat shortly, paying tribute to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. After the Rajghat visit, leaders and dignitaries will head to the Bharat Mandapam again to attend the last session of the G21. It's called One Future, along with several bilateral meetings between Prime Minister Modi and heads of different countries like Canada, Turkey, South Korea, and others. Some of these are not full bilaterals, but pull-asides. There is also a working lunch that the Prime Minister will be holding with French President Emmanuel Macron, who arrived last afternoon. All right, Mausami continues to be with me. Mausami, just to get a word from you on, on the meetings that take place today. Some interesting ones are happening today. We saw the high voltage ones take place on the G20 eve with President Joe Biden and others. Yesterday there was the British Prime Minister Sunak, the Japanese Prime Minister, and the Italian Prime Minister. Today we understand there's a big working lunch with the French President, but there are also important pull-asides with leaders like Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, who didn't actually, if I'm not mistaken, didn't show up for the dinner yesterday. So people are a little curious about that.
That's right, Shiv. It is a pull aside. It's not a full-on bilateral that's happening. And, even before the Canadian Prime Minister actually arrived, Canadian President actually arrived here in India, he was skeptical about the fact that, not sure about the fact that whether there would be any meeting, one-on-one meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And he's been trying to bargain hard with India as far as, raking up that foreign interference issue in his country is concerned. So one will have to wait and see. Of course, he has to cater to his domestic audience, but, a lot could be said during the entire, when Prime Minister was receiving the Justin Trudeau. At that point of time, during the President's dinner, in the morning, in fact, before the G20 started, we saw that Justin Trudeau arrived, and then he paused for a photograph, and the Prime Minister was ready to, showed his hand that the way out was that side, the way inside the Bharat Mandapam was that side. So, and the body language was different with other leaders like Joe Biden, where he spent 45 seconds showing him the Connaught wheel, and even with the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. So perhaps, some icebreaker of a sort in this pull-aside meeting, or we'll have to wait and see how that really unfolds. But yes, if you look at the entire picture on the last day, 15 total bilaterals the Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be doing in the past 3 days, and it's been working lunches, it's been the recess time in the afternoon when the Prime Minister has held bilaterals, and the important underlining fact is that here is India, which is talking about an inclusive future for the world, a better future for the world, and it's taking along everybody in it. Shiv.
Absolutely. Mosmi, thanks very much for the moment. I'm going to keep coming back to you because we're standing by now on the cusp of images coming in from the Akshardham Mandir, where Rishi Sunak and Akshata Murty are. They are still inside the mandir, we are told, so we'll be getting those images very, very shortly, and lots of messages everywhere, lots of curiosity about that. So we'll have those images for you in just a moment. I seek your patience on that. Also, Rajghat, where the leaders will be.